While many blasting, others praising Jim Comey following his shocking testimony. The Wall Street Journal writing, quote, in an editorial, what his Thursday testimony made clear is how much he has damaged the country. Here now is Danny Coulson, former FBI Deputy Assistant Director. Danny, good to see you. Do you think he damaged the country?
I think he damaged himself. He certainly didn't damage the FBI. Remember, we've had a lot of directors be fired. William Sessions was fired, L. Patrick Gray was fired, and the FBI just keeps on chugging along doing its job. I think it's a shame that James Comey never took off his Department of Justice hat and put on an FBI hat. He wasn't a strong enough advocate for them. He acquiesced to not having a grand jury to investigate Hillary Clinton, and he went along with the terminology they laid on him. The FBI's not hurt the country. No, we're fine.
You know, you use the word strong, Danny. You use the word strong, and several times he talked about how weak he was. He was asked by a Democrat, by the way, Dianne Feinstein, why didn't you stand up to the president? Or why didn't you ask the Attorney General to come back in when the president asked you for a private meeting? And he said, gee, maybe I should have, but I guess I wasn't strong. I mean, he's got a problem. That was his problem. That wasn't the president's problem.
And it's not the FBI's problem either. I know James Comey. I've met with him in the last 4 months. He's a 6 foot, whatever, 10, 9 guy who has the weight of the FBI behind him, and he didn't have the courage to stand up and say, this is not right. We can't do that.
By the way, last night we were broadcasting the British election, but we talked a little bit about this, and Robert Ray was on. He was a former independent counsel. Robert Ray's kind of a small guy. I'm not too tall. I'm about 6 feet, but he's smaller than I am. He said he had to stand up to President Clinton several times. He told him, you can do this, you can't do that. And so it's happened before. Let me just ask you about the leaking, because now that's taken on a life of its own. Did it bother you that he leaked information, particularly to the New York Times, which he himself says has come out with erroneous information?
He would have fired me for doing that. He would have fired anybody for doing that. It was totally inappropriate. He's a director. He's supposed to stand up and have courage, even though he's the ex-director. That was the wrong thing to do. And the example he gave about seagulls on the beach, and that was just silly. The information didn't change, whether he did it publicly or he did it through a leak. It's
well, and Danny, the leaking is a big part of this story. Somebody's leaking some dangerous. We're getting word of this gal. Again, it's allegations at the moment, but this 25-year-old who was anti-U.S. said she'd side with Iran if we went to war. People like that are leaking. This is a very dangerous thing, because these people, if stories are true, are traitors. I'm just wondering, I mean, he was feeding that kind of leaking frenzy that's going on by leaking himself.
I think he's giving encouragement to it. He's telling people around the world, if you have classified material and you want to give it out, if it's for a better cause or if your own personal cause, then you can go ahead and do it. That's really wrong, and I think it tremendously affects his credibility. I would look at anything he said to me now as like questionable. Thank you.
All right. Well, there's going to be a new FBI director. Maybe we're all better off because of that. Danny, great to see you. Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. Thank you.